and we're back here with Listen by Eck, and I'm fairly sure let me just take you through how far we've come so far. We've solved all the clues, and then when we solved all of the clues, we took the corrections from the 39 clues which had misprints, which spell out 9-letter ones round Muse, Chi starts, Zeta ends. It turns out that what that gave us was, the completed grid then turned into an entire different puzzle, or I should say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different puzzles, 9 different, polygon puzzles. Of course, polygon is an anagram of the word of the various letters which were taken out of the ones that were taken out, or the ones that survived. The various letters which were removed from 8 entries before they went into the grid. Polygons is that word game where you have an anagram and you need to, you have a number of letters and you need to make anagrams out of it using a central letter. But that message gave us, it gave some context to all these letters and numbers which were previously in the grid. And they're in fact all representations of various Greek letters. So Chi is, of course, looks like our X, and Zeta is, of course, a Z, and Mu looks like a capital M. So when we look closer at the grid, we find that we've in fact got 9 different polygon games, and we knew that we needed to use these to derive a 9-word set of instructions, and we knew how many letters were in each word of that 9-word set of instructions. And then amazingly, one's able to look at each of the polygons and extract a 5-letter word, a 3-letter word, a 9-letter word, a 3-letter word, and so forth. We end up with erase all, obfuscate eta, sort out code word, use beta. When one thinks about that for a while, one realises that they've got to make a code word. So, one crossword puzzle, which was tough enough and certainly a journey, an adventure in itself to solve, turns into 9 different polygon games, then turns into a code word. That's my working on the code word. Eventually we solve the code word, and after we identified all the words that started with beta and reading across first, so we have erase all but tau. Tau, of course, being the very similar to our, represented by our capital T. Erase all but tau entries, solve letter Sudokus, use kappa. Of course, one erases everything except the taus, and they end up with 2 different Sudoku grids that they need to solve. Then when one identifies all the kappas, which is represented by a K, of course, the message we get is erase, enter original news, N-U-S, another Greek letter, of course. So we go back and we look at the letters for Yeah, the cells which were originally marked with ends. I've just gone back to the original grid solve and entered the letters where we have those ends. This is what we end up with, and this is where I'm up to at the moment, and I'm a little bit perplexed by this because I'm just going to remove some of the rest of the working just to tidy up this grid, so the page, because I mean everything else was reasonably straightforward when we were looking at the messages which were given by each of the puzzles. And I should say by this stage we've had the original crossword puzzle, so that's puzzle number 1. We've had 9 polygon puzzles, so another set of puzzles. We've had a code words. We've had 2 Sudokus, letter Sudokus. So that's four puzzles, 4 separate sets of puzzles, and it's I mean, we're told that we're told in the preamble that solvers must follow all instructions to show an adapted quotation in the final grid. Title may be read as help for following one of the instructions. Now, I'm not sure about that final part of the answer, but I've been looking at this collection of letters that I made. Of course, there's numbers as well, which appeared in the original carte blanche grid. We've used the numbers for the code words. We used the chis, the zetas and the mu's for the polygons. We've used the betas and the taus and the kappas. I believe we also used the etas, and by the time we get to this stage, we're just showing all the news, which suggests to me that when we're not looking at another puzzle, this is the end stage of the puzzle. This is the end stage of the grid. We don't have any instructions left to follow, I don't think. I'm sort of stewing on this over dinner, trying to work out, well, what does it actually mean? But what I've landed on is, I think I have followed all the instructions so far. So this should be shown in an adapted quotation. I mean, there are aspects of what we see here, just writing out all the letters in left to right, top to bottom order. There are aspects of what we see here which look like they're words, but perhaps not in English. For example, circum something, that's like the sound of we have enigma here in the middle. Requires. It's going to be Latin, you know. I don't know if C is a Latin word, but C is SI, I think that's Italian, which close enough to Latin. I'm reminded of that Sopranos episode as I say that Somebody asked what happened to the Romans. There's a scene where Tony Soprano showed them what happened to the Romans. Where are they now? I think that was it. Anyway, I'll digress. I'm going to Google that. See Enigma Chorus Circumspice. What does it mean? Yeah. Phrase is a slight misspelling of the famous Latin epitaph, "Si momentum requires circumspice." Translates to, if you seek his monument, look around you. Inscribed on the tomb of Christopher Wren. There's variations of it too. If you seek a pleasant finish, look around you. Enigma. That means puzzle, right? Enigma in Latin. A enigma. Yeah, so what's an enigma? If you seek a riddle, look around you. Puzzling. It means puzzle, doesn't it? Puzzle. So it's actually spelled with an A in front. Puzzle. Enigma. It's a puzzle. That's the answer. How was that? You seek a puzzle, look around you. I am absolutely blown away by that. I think it's incredible. Still not sure what we're meant to make of the title. I mean, it's not uncommon with these puzzles that the title is in some way thematic or a clever little twist or something extra, like an Easter egg. But anyway, this is the first listener crossword I've solved in a while. I sort of stopped a little bit into last year because I ended a run of solving this puzzle every week for 5 years. But well, I'm glad I've solved this one because it's an absolutely incredible puzzle. I think it's obviously an absolute master of the art of construction. Those clues were brilliant. There were obviously so many gimmicks which were wrapped up in them, but this was a puzzle which I think gave away its secrets. Well, at least for me, it gave away its secrets slowly, but we got there in the end, and it's just an incredible puzzle. I really, really enjoyed it. Anyway, that's that. I'll be back at some stage in the future. I might try solving some different puzzles, maybe just some regular cryptics. The other ones I've been thinking about, maybe doing a streaming solve of, are David Astell's puzzles that appear every Friday in the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age newspapers here in Australia. I think I haven't really cracked into David Astell's puzzles in the same way that I've have with some of the more traditional UK advanced cryptics, but whenever I have attempted to solve David Astell's puzzles, I've well, there's a levity about them and there's a creativity about them, which is really something different. He's I think, a bit of a national treasure. Certainly the lion of Australian cryptic crosswords. Anyway, I might. It's Friday today, so we do actually have one. So actually, I might stop this stream and try and dive into today's Sydney Morning Herald crossword by David Astle. See if we can get that going. I'll be back in a moment. Let me